It's now thought 2,300 people have died and thousands more have been injured in the earthquake in Turkey and Syria.
Israeli forces have killed at least 5 Palestinian gunmen in a raid on a refugee camp in the occupied West Bank.
The EU is stepping up the economic fight against Moscow after introducing a ban on imports of Russian refined oil products.
Beyoncé becomes the Grammy Awards' most decorated artist, taking home her 32nd award and breaking a 26-year-old record.
Hatay province in Turkey, and a drone captures the scale of the destruction brought by the 7.8 Richter scale earthquake that came at 4:17 in the morning when most were in their beds, many in residential tower blocks. As the day has worn on, the death toll of this disaster has grown, with at least 2,300 thought to have died in Turkey and Syria by mid-afternoon. They've rescued 2,500 people in Turkey, but still the desperate search for the trapped and injured goes on. Turkey says 5,400 people have been injured, and the rescuers themselves put themselves at great danger. Aftershocks sent rescuers and survivors alike running for safety. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said offers of help had been received from some 45 countries. Over the border in Syria, rescue workers were pulling bodies and survivors from the rubble in the towns of Hama and Afrin.
Anger erupts in the occupied West Bank after the latest raid by Israeli forces killed at least 5 Palestinian militants, an Israeli security official says. The official, who spoke to media on the condition of remaining anonymous, says it happened at a refugee camp near Jericho. It's understood a gun battle broke out between Hamas fighters and Israeli troops as they attempted to force their way into homes in the area. Israel says the operation was aimed at arresting a number of men suspected of involvement in a botched attack on Israelis that was likely to escalate tensions in the area. In a statement, Hamas confirmed its members were among those killed. The violence comes amid one of the deadliest periods in recent years in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and in the first weeks of Israel's new government, its most right-wing ever.
Russian forces continue to bombard Ukrainian positions at several locations in Donetsk as they seek to gain ground along the front line. Ukraine says its units are repelling the attacks, but are preparing for further escalation. As our correspondent in Kyiv, Sasha Vakulina, reports.
Ukraine is bracing for a possible Russian offensive right for the first anniversary of the full-scale invasion. The country's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, said there are already many reports that the occupiers want to do something symbolic in February to try to avenge their last year's defeats. Now, these warnings, they do seem somehow similar to January 2022, when Western allies were warning Ukraine that the invasion was imminent, but this is not 2022, and the feeling here in Kyiv is very different, both among the population and among the authorities. Ukraine's defense ministry admits that not all Western weaponry will have arrived by that time, but the authorities are convinced that Ukraine has enough reserves to hold off Russian forces. Sasha Vakulina from Kyiv for Euronews.
The EU is stepping up the economic fight against Russia after introducing a set of measures which hit its oil exports. A ban on importing Russian refined oil products came into force on Sunday, including EU purchases of diesel and jet fuel.
The EU, until February 5th, imported about 70 million euros per day of worth of oil products, especially diesel, from Russia. And the EU has been by far the largest buyer of oil products from Russia. So this is highly impactful.
In the short term, experts are not worried about diesel shortages as companies piled up stocks before the Sunday deadline. The long-term outlook, though, remains to be seen. The EU and G7 countries have also expanded their existing price cap on Russian crude oil to include all refined products. This means EU-based companies cannot provide services to Russian tankers that sell premium products like kerosene and petrol at a price above $100 per barrel. For so-called discount products like fuel oil and naphtha, a maximum of $45 per barrel has been set.
The price cap on oil products are set at a high level that still enables Russia to profit from this trade. So European-owned, European-insured tankers continue to carry Russian crude oil, Russian oil products to third countries, and the price cap for this trade, or the price caps for this trade, need to be substantially revised down.
But experts warn Russia can circumvent the latest EU sanctions if the loopholes are not closed.
This is going to be a game of cat and mouse that will continue for probably as long as Russia continues its war of aggression against Ukraine. For example, Russia is now exporting crude oil to countries such as Turkey, United Arab Emirates, India, and then the refined oil products out of that crude oil. Some of them are imported back into the EU.
The EU is also working on a 10th set of sanctions against Moscow, which is expected to be introduced by the first anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February the 24th.
Career diplomat Andreas Mavroyiannis, backed by a communist-rooted party, and a former centre-right foreign minister, Nikos Christodoulides, will battle it out for Cyprus's presidency in a runoff election. This is after neither candidate achieved 50% of the total vote, according to official results announced on Sunday. Christodoulides, who has constantly led opinion polls, was jubilant at the result.
Νίκησε η δημοκρατία. Σήμερα νίκησε η συλλογικότητα. Σήμερα νίκησε η βούληση της κοινωνίας για συνένωση δυνάμεων που θα αξιοποιήσει τους καλύτερους και θα πάρει την Κύπρο σε μια νέα εποχή.
Mavroyiannis, who previously served as the chief negotiator in peace talks with the Turkish Cypriot-controlled government in the north of the island, pulled off an upset by making it to the last two. He was trailing another candidate in opinion polls before the vote.
Σε αυτή την προσπάθεια που ξεκινήσαμε μαζί δεν περισσεύει κανείς. Η αγάπη για τον τόπο μας καταργεί τις διαχωριστικές γραμμές και μας ενώνει.
Cyprus's chief returning officer has said that turnout was 72%, slightly higher than the previous election in 2018. The island has been divided since 1974, when Turkey sent troops which invaded the northern side of the island. It was in response to a coup which Ankara alleged had sought to unify the island with Greece.
Επίλυση του Κυπριακού, οικονομική ανάπτυξη, διαφθορά. Αυτά είναι τα τρία ζητήματα που αναμένεται να κυριαρχήσουν στον δρόμο προς τις δεύτερες προεδρικές κάλπες. Οι δύο υποψήφοι πρέπει να κερδίσουν το κρίσιμο ποσοστό των αναποφάσιστων αν θέλουν να κόψουν πρώτοι το νήμα. Από τη Λευκοσία και το Euronews, Απόστολος Στάικος.
The US military is still looking for the wreckage of a giant Chinese balloon it says had been spying on key sites across America. The balloon drifting high above was first revealed over Montana, creating a buzz down below among residents who initially wondered what it was. Now they wonder what its arrival means amid a chorus of alarm raised by elected officials. Warships off Myrtle Beach in South Carolina are on the lookout for debris. The recovery is proving difficult as it's spread over 11 kilometres. On Saturday, fighter jets shot down the balloon. President Joe Biden, who was criticised for not acting sooner, said he gave the order to shoot when it was safe to do so. Beijing claims the floating object was a harmless weather balloon which had drifted off course. It says the US is overreacting and reserves the right to respond. Diplomatically, the incident has made already strained relations between the two countries worse. Secretary of State Antony Blinken abruptly postponed a high-stakes Beijing trip aimed at easing tensions.
For the most Grammy wins of all time.
In news that should surprise no one, Beyoncé became the Grammy Awards' most decorated artist of all time Sunday night, taking home her 32nd award and breaking a 26-year-old record.
I'm trying not to be too emotional. And I'm trying to just receive this night.
But it was the British heartthrob who won the most coveted Album of the Year prize for Harry's House.
From start to finish has been the greatest experience of my life.
Just like that.
Veteran singer-songwriter Bonnie Raitt won the Song of the Year award with a track about organ donation.
For this song, by the incredible story of the love and the grace and the generosity of someone that donates. Okay.
Lizzo became the first black woman to win Record of the Year since Whitney Houston in 1994, dedicating the award to Prince.
When we lost Prince, I decided to dedicate my life to making positive music.
The hit single Easy on Me from Adele's self-professed divorce album earned her best solo performance.
He said, don't cry. If you win anything tonight, don't cry. And here I am crying. Just to my son, I wrote this first verse in the shower.
So
And a sweetly starstruck Samara Joy won Best New Artist. The American jazz singer sharing the very stage her heroes also stood on.